I hate having to do this, being here. A lot of things I'd rather be doing. It's embarrassing as an American to have to spend so much time exposing our corrupt government. We are decades, more likely centuries behind where we should be and would be if our Congress had not exiled the U.S. Constitution in so many ways. This city is occupied by so many federal agencies that should not even exist, and they are eating out our substance, in addition to destroying our families. We're back to where we were in 1775, 1776. The Congress is occupied by traitors who violate their oath in thinking they can pass legislation on anything, as long as a majority votes for it. They are out of control. It's not just families today who've been exiled. We've exiled the framers of our Constitution. Read Judge Andrew Napolitano's book, The Constitution in Exile, and follow constitutional lawyer KrisAnne Hall at krisannehall.com, or search her videos on YouTube. Her name is spelled K-R-I-S, capital A-N-N-E, all one word, KrisAnne Hall, H-A-L-L, or go to krisannehall.com. Now, what would I rather be doing today? I'd rather be composing and playing instrumental guitar music or playing cover songs of 60s and 70s rock music, my music, happy music, instead of writing and playing depressing protest songs exposing family law tyranny. I prefer spending my weekend traveling, camping, hiking, playing tennis, bicycling. Instead of following groups on Facebook about family law tyranny, I'd like to be studying science and subjects to further human progress, astronomy, space exploration, biology, chemistry, the hip stuff. Botany, computer, hey, I'm a big Trekkie too. Computer science and many other subjects. I love learning and I love studying history. But I know enough about history that I know what's going on now in this country is messed up, man, big time. We might as well have King George instead of what's up on that hill there. The answer to 1984, where we are, is 1776. And that's a reference to George Orwell's book, 1984. You ought to read it. We're there, if not beyond it. We got all kinds of doublespeak going on in our media. In the family courts, we got best interests of the child. What? Stealing kids from fit parents, that's in the best interest of children, right? Isn't it? For 29, nearly 30 years since my kids were stolen, I've struggled just to survive. I could have spent an inheritance from my dad on a house of my own instead of equipment and travel expenses fighting for justice and reform of our court system. I have no retirement account. I spent that too. I need justice. Money damages for 12 years of legal battles in secret kangaroo courts. A total of 9 months of unlawful incarceration. A train-wrecked career. Being forced into bankruptcy and poverty. A suspended driver's license. And most of all, the mental anguish of being exiled from my children. But how do you get justice from our corrupt court system? My story is just one of millions. I speak for them also. I speak for you listening, watching to this. Hundreds of fathers, a few mothers have called me over the past decades, especially over the past 12 years since I've had my website, exiledfathers.org, and now exiledparents.org. It's not about gender anymore. I realize that, even though fathers get screwed most of the time. We cannot afford to be gender biased in this battle, folks. So women get screwed too. By the courts. Raped, I should say. We all get raped by the courts. All these people who call me, they basically have the same story. It's like hearing my own case history. I have to stop them. It does no good for you people to tell me or for you to listen to anybody's story unless you're posting it on YouTube. You're making a collection of them for a petition, whatnot. I've got hundreds of videos on my YouTube channel, Mark Young 12, where I've done that for 12 years. I've done that. And somebody has to do this. I just happen to live close to the District of Criminals and our rogue Congress that passes legislation in areas for which it has no delegated authority to act. It rewards states for violating parents' rights and perpetuates parasitic family law industries. Judges, attorneys, psychologists, social workers, child protection agencies, extortion, so-called child support agencies. Child support Gestapo is what they are. Extortion agents who thrive on unconstitutional federal funding that incentivizes stealing children from fit parents. With modern technology, the law should be easy to understand, to access, and to apply. I was just having a conversation with Ron Jaganation about, he's a computer geek, and he's also a physicist. And I mentioned to him that, in this day of 21st century technology, we should be able to replace lawyers with artificial intelligence. But it's the job of lawyers to complicate the law, to make it more confusing, so they have more work to do. The law is simple. It should be simple. Look at the Ten Commandments. Most of our laws stem from the Ten Commandments. Our system is based on it, the common law. But judges and attorneys, it should be easy to understand, access, and apply, and for the public to monitor with live streaming technology. But judges and attorneys fear cameras in the court, like rats and roaches fear the light of day. Judges and attorneys acting as officers of the court intentionally block or exploit, respectively, modernization of the courts by prohibiting recording devices in the courtrooms, unless you're an attorney. This is outrageously absurd. It is unconscionable and unacceptable for our supposed open society in the 21st century. But they prefer darkness to light in the courtrooms. It has been said many times, the first job of the legal profession is to create work for themselves, to keep law complicated and secret for their own job security. Attorneys become judges who continue to create and perpetuate more and more litigation by intentionally violating parents' rights. This causes parents in their insane desperation to spend their fortunes on attempts to get their kids back. It is kidnapping for ransom, extortion, and racketeering, all in the name of the falsehood called the best interest of the child. In seeking justice in their own cases, parents pour gasoline on the fire as they pour their wealth into the hands of attorneys and psychologists in attempts to get their kids back after they were stolen, kidnapped by the human trafficking family courts. And right now in the news, we've got people, all the media's going crazy about Mexican children being separated from their parents. How many times, how outraged have they become over the millions of kids and parents separated from each other in this country for the past 40 or 50 years? Where's the media and the family courts? Millions. We got a few 100,000 maybe of the Mexican families being separated, and that's terrible. It shouldn't happen. We should have our military guarding our borders so we never have to let them in so that we can separate them and put them in jails. But we have a prison industrial complex too, you know, so we need more people to fill those jails, and we need more children for child protective services to abuse and kill.